everyone, my name's Lisa if you're new around here. If you like channels that are associated with interiors, home style, health and well-being, then this is definitely one for you. So go ahead and subscribe and ring that bell just so you don't miss any uploads. So today I'm going to be talking about my weight loss journey and how I lost over 2 stone, the equivalent of 33 pounds. Then if you're interested in hearing about how I've done that, then stay tuned. So I'm going to be really honest with you. I have always had a bit of a battle with weight. And I think, like all of us, it depends on where you are in life, how you're feeling in general. A lot of my overeating, as I would put it, was associated perhaps with mood, stress, anxiety. I think a holistic approach to weight loss is definitely really important, because ultimately for me, and I guess for many of us, what's going on up here really does affect what we put in our mouths and how we feel in general, because there's a fine balance between what we eat and consume calorie wise versus what we're actually burning off on a daily basis. And I think it's just getting that balance right. So I have in the past been what I would refer to as a yo-yo dieter. So I would do some sort of diet regime, which I'll talk to you about some of the things I've done in the past that haven't been successful, and lose a few pounds and then think to myself, wow, okay, I've lost 5 pounds, that means I can have that bar of chocolate, that means I can binge on a great big huge bag of popcorn and nachos while I watch a film. And what I've had to do for myself is almost do like a mental readdress about my diet and myself and my emotional relationship with food, because I am a classic binge eater. So I will do very, very well for a few days and I will eat healthily, and then because I've done that, then I will compensate and allow myself to eat crazy amounts of chocolate and sweets. They are my downfall. Chocolate, sweets and crisps are my absolute downfall. But what I've found is that everything in moderation is actually okay. So one of the plans I've done in the past has been the Slim Fast plan, which works on the premise of meal replacement. So for your breakfast and lunch, you will replace that meal you would naturally have with either a shake, a protein shake it is, or a protein bar. And then you will have a low calorie meal for your evening meal, which equates to about 600 calories, which is quite tough, I'll admit. And basically that means you are living on probably about 1200 calories a day, which, if you're looking at calorie control diets, will help you drop the weight. So when I was doing that initially during the first week, I would instantly drop about 5 pounds in weight. And a lot of that is because that weight is just water that you're actually getting rid of. It's not real weight, it's just water. So if you're you've got a special event coming up and you want to drop a few pounds for that to fit into a special dress, that's a really good option to just get off a few pounds if you wanted to. But in the long run, what I found with it was yes, I would lose some weight initially, and then as soon as I started to eat normal food and take out the replacement shakes and the bars, that is the point where I would start to put on weight. Another diet that I flirted with on a couple of occasions has been the Atkins diet, and that is the low carb, high fat, high protein diet. So that works on the premise that you reduce all of the food that contains carbohydrates. So you would not eat pasta, you would not eat bread, you would eat things that are pretty much meat related, fish related, dairy. High fat food, so you could have a chicken breast and a very small salad with that, but then you could go ahead and have sugar-free jelly with full fat cream for dessert. It's an interesting diet, but how it made me feel every time I did it was, yes, I would lose weight, which was brilliant, but then I'd end up feeling kind of heavy inside, even though I had lost a little bit of weight. My tongue and mouth would feel as though it was permanently coated, and I used to feel really quite nauseous and sick with it because of the high fat content. It just didn't feel a natural way to be sustainable. And again, I would do it for 2, 3, 4 weeks because really, above and beyond that, it's hard to maintain. I would smell because that diet puts you into ketosis, which means that you start to burn off your own body supply, which is allegedly where the weight comes off. The thing with that, what I found was it didn't necessarily take the fat, it would start to eat the muscle. So you would get a fair bit of muscle wastage and some loss of strength as well. So I would notice when doing the Atkins diet that I would get on the treadmill, but I would feel really, really weak, like my legs were like lead. And it's because it seems to attack the good tissue in your body first. That is my experience. All of these opinions in here are my personal experience, and whatever works for you, works for you. You know, I'll do me, you do you, boo. It's as simple as that. Do you know what I mean? So if I say anything and people are like, oh gosh, no, that actually works, good. I think, you know, what I'm going to talk about moving forward has worked for me. It might not necessarily work for you. The third plan that I've done over the years is the Diet Chef plan. I think it still exists, and basically that works on the premise of a low calorie meal option. So what you do is you order a month's worth of food and they send you out breakfast, lunch and an evening meal. When I first did it, I thought I was thinking to myself, how am I going to fit all of this stuff in the fridge and freezer? I was really quite concerned about that because obviously I'm being delivered 30 evening meals. What am I going to do with it for storage? But actually it comes in plastic packages which you can just store in your garage, wherever. Which then had me a little bit concerned, because how can something that's been pre-packed like that not require refrigeration or freezing be really good for you? I don't know what to do with that food. I found it to be very, very heavily processed, and what you thought you were eating, I do wonder whether I was eating it. I remember taking in a chicken type salad with like a pasta salad, I think it might have had a bit of rice in there as well, into work and eating it with my colleagues, and they were like, what is that you're eating? I'm like, oh, it's like a chicken salad or chicken pasta bake, and they're like, that's not chicken. And it's true enough, it's just quite heavily processed. And again, I did that for a couple of months. When you look at how that spend is versus your shopping, it's not that bad. But yeah, I again put the weight straight back on having done that. So let's get on to this latest journey, and the one that for me has actually really worked, and I've managed to keep the weight off. I'm on a maintenance diet now, which means, you know, I have to be careful about what I eat, but that means I can introduce much more of the treats that I wasn't in the past. So this whole process kicked off at the beginning of this year, and like all of us, I set myself a New Year's resolution that I was going to lose some weight this year, and I was going to be committed to that and actually make sure that that weight stayed off. So I started off initially with a low calorie plan. So I downloaded the MyFitnessPal app and then put in, you know, what my weight was, my age, and you know what my overall goal was and where I wanted to get to, as you do with it. And it told me that I needed to basically survive on a whole diet for a day of 1200 calories, which I started to do. And that lasted for about 10 days, because I'm not kidding you, I don't think I have ever felt so hungry in my life. Trying to live on 1200 calories and work full time, try and exercise and be healthy was just nigh on impossible. If somebody had said to me during that time, do you know what, you can eat your arm, I would have gnawed on my own arm. I was that hungry. It was so difficult, so restrictive. It was getting to the point where actually I just couldn't really think of anything that I could eat that would be that low, especially for me because I am out and about mostly during the working week, and I'm eating in, you know, hotels, restaurants, because or, you know, wherever we see in our customers, whether or not that's their particular environment, it just gets very, very difficult to eat basically nothing at lunchtime, and I would find I was just having a salad and just permanently feeling hungry. So I then looked at other options that are out there. Obviously there's a balance versus what you eat and the exercise as well, and I think for me that's the biggest learn, is you can do as many crazy fad diets as you want, but if you're not going to get up off the chair and move your backside, you're not going to shed the weight. So I just happened to be looking at different options. I remember a friend of mine had done Weight Watchers in the past, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to have a look at that and see what it's about. There's many celebrities who have done it, and I think what struck my mind was that Robbie Williams had done it or was on the plan. And when I looked at some of the celebrities who have done it, you know, you've got Robbie Williams, you've got Kate Hudson, who have also done that plan in order to lose weight and maintain the weight loss as well. So, you know, what's good enough for Robbie Williams is good enough for me, so to speak. So I investigated it and had a look at some of the offerings that it does. This video is not sponsored in any shape or form by WW, as it's now called. I wish it was. But I don't think they'd want to work with me at this point anyway. But WW is the new rebranded version of Weight Watchers, and it means wellness that works in a nutshell. And what it's actually done is, rather than focus on the food side of it, as I was saying earlier, it actually starts to look at more of the holistic elements. So it's incorporating fitness, but also mindfulness and mental well-being as well, because within your subscription you also get access to Headspace, which is a really good meditation tool as well. So I embarked on it, I set my goals, and I will share it with you, the platform, in just a moment. But I sort of put a target weight in terms of where I'd want to be, and basically embarked on the whole process. And it's a points-based system. You're given a set amount of points per day, depending on what your needs are. It takes into account whether or not you're breastfeeding, whatever aspect of your life that you're doing. You just set it up for you personally. Then it gives you a point value that you stay within. The nice thing about this is that there's over 200 foods that have 0 points. So all of your meat and fish are 0 points. All of your fruit are 0 points. Eggs are 0 points. And there's only vegetables like potatoes and the parsnips, you know, the really carb heavy substantial veggies that have points in. The rest of the veggies have nothing. So courgettes have nothing, tomatoes, lettuce, you name it. So you can make up some really good meals with low points, which then means faster weight loss, but also you're able to eat a really balanced, healthy diet, which some of the other plans don't allow you to do. And that, for me, is what's really been beneficial. So I'm going to take you into the WW app here, and what I'm going to share with you first is my weight loss journey itself. So if I go into my profile, it gives you a bit of an overview of where you started. So as you can see here, I am down 2 stone 3.6 pounds, which, as I said, was the equivalent. Well, when I started, I was 11 stone 5 pounds, which is 161 pounds, and is 73 kilograms, depending on how you want to look at it. And I am 5'7", and that weight gave me a BMI of 24.9, which I'll show you. So that meant I was still within my healthy weight, but I was on the very, very end, or the high end, of what was healthy for my age, my height, my gender. So it was something that I was always mindful of. Yes, you know, people would say to me, well, I never thought you looked big in the first place, but I think I probably carried the weight a lot better than I thought I did. And if I show you my, I can now see all. So what this will do is it'll pull up how over the month, so I started this on the 4th of of February this year, and you can see at that point that was my starting weight, so we had 11 stone 5 pounds. And then the following week when I weighed in, I'd lost 4 pounds, because you do get the initial water weight loss, and gradually over time the weight loss has diminished somewhat, which you would expect, to the point now where actually, because I'm on the maintenance diet, you know, here I haven't lost anything. I lost, you know, a couple of, not even a pound, you know, like maybe less than half a pound, but I'm not looking to lose any more weight. So right now at this moment in time, where am I now? I weigh 9 stone 0.1, which is the equivalent of just under 128 pounds, and that's 58 kilograms. And that gives me a BMI versus all of the things that we've talked about at 19.9, which puts me at the lower end of what's healthy for me. So what I need to be mindful of now is that I don't lose more weight, because obviously I don't want to look emaciated and not healthy. So I just need to be a little bit mindful of that. So I put all of my ideal targets. So initially, having been 11 stone 5, I set my initial target at 10 stone, because if I can get myself to 10 stone, I would be really, really happy. And that dropped my first dress size. So I dropped from a size 14 to a size 12, which was fantastic. And then obviously there was still, I still felt there was room for improvement. So I thought, well, what if I get to 9 stone 5, or 9 stone 7, which is, you know, 9.5 stone. And I'd managed to do that. And I thought, well, okay, I still look as though I could lose some more weight and still be healthy. So then I thought, well, let's just keep this going until the point where I start to think enough, which I have definitely reached. And then I changed my food settings. So it depends on what you want to do. So at the minute, my objective is sat at healthy habits, because that's what I want to do. So that gives me 28 points per day. And to be honest, I'll show you, some days I can't even hit that. Because of some of the foods I'm eating, I just can't do it. If I change that to weight loss and healthy habits, that drops the points to 23, which is what I was doing initially. With this plan, you also get like a bit of a buffer zone, so they will give you some extra weeklies as well. So if you're going out for a meal, you're not going to end up in a situation where you're going to start piling on the pounds, which is brilliant. And for me as well, I work, and obviously sometimes I'm in a position, or, you know, a restaurant, or I'm away with work. I have to eat what's in front of me, and I can't stand there being picky saying, well, I can't eat that because there's too many points in it. So on those days, even when I was away with work for 2 or 3 days, I still wouldn't gain the weight back, which has been brilliant. So I'll show you my day. So let's go into my day. So I haven't put everything in here yet. I've had lunch today at work, and I had a vegetable wrap. For dinner, I'm going to be having salmon with veg, which is relatively low points. This morning I had my overnight porridge oats, which is the equivalent of 3 points. There's obviously, you can log your activity. Last night I did my spinning for 35 minutes and burnt off 9 of my 30 fit points. The other thing you can do as well, if you find that you need to eat more, is convert your fit points into extra points that you can eat as well. But what I wanted to do was be in a deficit where my exercise was actually supporting the weight loss rather than it being something that would allow me to eat more. But as I said, I've never, ever once felt hungry on this plan, because I can eat anything I want. And then on an evening, I'll often have a packet of crisps. I'll eat a light version of a packet of crisps, which is the equivalent of about 3 or 4 points, and it's not eating into anything else. So for me, this overall plan has worked a dream. You can log your activities, your foods. You've got, there's like a scanner here as well up in this top corner. So if you're using this on your phone and you're in a shopping, if you're in Tesco or Aldi or wherever you go, you can scan the barcodes, and that will tell you how many points are in that food. So you can make a choice of whether or not you're going to put that in your basket, or you're going to pick an alternative. But yeah, I think this has, for me, been probably, you know, the thing that's been the catalyst to the changes for me. And I can't honestly rate this app enough. You can either just work off an app like I've done, or you can have a subscription, which also allows you to go to the classes as well. There's online coaches on here. There's tons of people with their support stories. So you can get yourself a good network going. So as you've seen how the fitness side of it incorporates into the plan as well. So for fitness, what I've been doing, I like a lot of quite intense heavy cardio, and when I was getting married a few years ago, I did a lot of spinning prior to my wedding day, and that is one form of exercise that really did drop the weight for me. And one evening I was just looking around Facebook, and an ad popped up for a company called Peloton, who had a digital platform looking at spinning and different forms of exercise, cardio, you name it, meditation, yoga, it's got everything on it. And also there was a bike option as well, which then allowed you on a big screen to be able to literally digitally be with the instructor and a class and take a spin class. So what I thought I would do first before I invested in the bike, which is quite a heavy outlay, I did the digital app for about 3 months on a really old spin bike that I had and fell in love with it, which then led me to invest in the Peloton, which I am currently showing you. It's a really good bike if you like spinning. Obviously it's got to be something that you're into. The other thing that I've done quite a lot of as well is running, obviously either on my treadmill or actually out on the streets, and between the two of them I feel as though I've managed to strike a healthy balance. I'm exercising roughly 4, sometimes 5 times per week, doing cardio, and that can be anywhere between 20 minutes and an hour depending on how I'm feeling and the amount of time I've got on that particular day. But that for me has also been not only physically of value but also mentally as well, because I don't think you can ever appreciate the feel-good factor that exercise gives you and the mental strength that it gives you and the endorphins that come with it after as well. So to cap it off, aesthetically and from a clothes perspective, having been able to drop 2 sizes of clothes from a size 14 to a size 10, I feel a lot better in myself. My clothes fit me. I've been able to buy a new wardrobe, which is always amazing. And what's really nice is being able to take clothes into a shop changing room and they fit. I can't even begin to tell you, for me psychologically, how amazing that is, from taking in a size 14 or, you know, thinking, oh, I might get away with a 12 in this, taking it into the fitting room and the clothing being snug. I think from a psychological effect, or you can't fasten it, is just so damning. And then when I would see my body in the mirror, I'd just be so defeated and deflated. It's, yeah, the psychology of being able to get into clothes and how that makes you feel is unbelievable. And also from a physical perspective, I feel absolutely amazing. I don't think I've ever felt as well in every aspect of my life, either physically, mentally. I feel strong, I feel fit. And, you know, I have a demanding job, and from a resilience perspective and my ability to bounce back and, you know, the rubber band effect where I can let a lot more things go in both work and personal life as well. So from an all-round perspective, that has been my journey. I'm still on it. I'm still maintaining that weight. Does that mean I can't have treats? Absolutely not. I can now. I can have like a Fat Friday now where I'll eat a pizza. I can have chocolate on a weekend. I can have a big tube of Pringles, whatever I want, you know, within reason, I can now do that. And then the other days I will be within my points and, you know, doing my thing. I've found that a lot of the recipes with WW have been fabulous. There's certain things I really love that I make quite regularly. So there's just so much out there and so many different options. And if you are looking to embark on a weight loss journey, I wish you the very best of luck. Everybody's different. Things will do, different plans will work differently for different people. But I feel as though I'm eating more fresh food than I ever did. I'm making choices now, and I feel I want to as well. It's not because I have to, I feel as though I want to. I eat fruit rather than the chocolate and the crisps now. In the past I threw more fruit and veg out than I ever ate, which was such a shame and so wasteful, where now I'd rather have a banana, an apple or an orange than a piece of chocolate. And I think that mental switch and the breaking of habits has been the thing for me that I know personally now, having achieved what I achieved, I will not be going back to where I was before. There's just not a chance ever that that's going to happen. I just feel so well in every aspect that I just don't want that to happen. So good luck if this has motivated you in some way to look at whatever plan that might be, or some sort of fitness to get you moving. Then I really hope that that has, and yeah, and good luck with that. And with all that said, I am now going to love you and leave you, and you take care of yourself. Bye for now.